All right, in this video lecture, I am finishing section 8.1, what are protists. And so in our previous lecture, we talked about plant-like protists, and we went through the 4 types of plant-like protists, or 4 examples that your book provided. They were the diatoms, dinoflagellates, algae, and the euglena. And so now I'm going to talk about the other 2 types of protists, the animal-like protist and the fungus-like protist. So animal-like protist, another term for animal-like protist, is called protozoans. And so zoa is a term for animals, so protists that resemble tiny animals. And the characteristics that all protozoans share is that they do not have a chloroplast. They are microscopic in size, they are one-celled, and they live in wet environments. And so your book gives us 3 types of protozoans, the ciliates. And the ciliates are covered with cilia, the short hair-like structures that grow on the surface of the protist. So you can kind of see in this picture right here, if I zoom in, the cilia, and then over here with this, I think it's a paramecium, but as you can see, it's covered in hair. And so a paramecium is an example of a ciliate. It's got cilia, and it also has 2 types of nuclei. A second group of animal-like protists or protozoans is called the flagellates, and again, named for a structure that they possess or have, and that is flagella. So they have 1 or more flagella, and they usually get their nutrients by either decaying matter, things that are dead, so they just break it down, or absorbing nutrients in the digestive system of animals. Now, flagellates can cause some disease, or are found in the intestines of some animals. So these are some examples of flagellates that can cause disease. Sarcodines, third and final group of animal-like protozoans or animal-like protists, no specific shape. They just ooze into any shape. And so one example of a sarcodine is the amoeba. And what the amoeba does is it moves by these pseudopods. So you see these projections that come out. What it does is it basically fills everything inside that pseudopod, and that's how it moves. So this is a false foot, or a temporary foot. And you can see in this picture of amoeba, it's going to surround this organism and bring it on in and eat it. So that's how amoebas eat and bring things in. So the importance of protozoans, most of them are decomposers, which means they break down dead materials and then they recycle nutrients back to the environment in some way. And a lot of them do cause diseases. So your book goes through one disease caused by a protozoan called plasmodium. And plasmodium causes malaria, which is very common in parts of Africa. And what it does is this protozoan, plasmodium, lives in the saliva of mosquitoes, and it transfers to humans through a mosquito bite, and it travels through the bloodstream, and it finds your liver cells, and then it burrows inside liver cells and makes more plasmodia, and they bust out and infect more red blood cells and liver cells. The third type of protist is the funguslike protist, so slime and water molds, slime molds and water molds. So slime molds, basically a cell material with a bunch of nuclei floating in a slimy mass, and so they absorb nutrients from their environments. I hike a lot, and I have yet to see a slime mold in nature, so I'm really hoping that sometime in the near future I come across something that looks like this, because it just looks like something from out of a sci-fi movie. Water molds live as parasites, where they feed on dead organisms, as you can see here with the poor goldfish. But both slime molds and water molds can reproduce sexually or asexually. So why should we study fungus-like protists? Well, again, most of them are decomposers, and they can also cause disease in plants or crops. And so in one case where it affected a crop pretty greatly was the Great Irish Potato Famine back in 1845, where it wiped out half of Ireland's potato crop. And this is how most people made a living in those days. And so now they don't have their crop, they don't have food, they don't have a way of life. And so a lot of them immigrated to other parts of the world for a better life. All right, so that does it for 8.1. I just went through animal-like protist and fungus-like protist.